Hi everyone, it's Hans here, the founder of Cappuccino, and welcome to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, a podcast created to allow a space for open, honest and vulnerable conversations with real people, all over a beautiful cup of coffee. We're here in my home, so I'll be providing the flat whites, and my guests, they'll be providing the insights. So grab a coffee for yourselves, take a moment, and I hope you enjoy this latest conversation. Thank you, take care, and enjoy. Chloe, hi.
Hello.
Thank you for dialing in, joining me on Flat Whites and Insights, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation. We've got to know each other, I guess, through Instagram. We joke about, coffee influencers and
Yeah.
two of us here together. I think, following on from the theme of the latest Stephen Bartlett, we're kind of following in Hoffman's footsteps. So
I think so. I think we're halfway there already,
yeah,
It won't take long.
as soon as this is released.
Yeah, see?
But yeah, so for those, I know you obviously through the coffee world. Barista Chloe is your Instagram for people who know us through that world. But for those who don't know you, you're right to give a brief introduction to just a very quick kind of this is me before we get going.
Oh my gosh. It's not the worst question, like when you're in a room full of people and it's like, introduce yourself.
Yeah.
So I am Chloe. I work in coffee. I used to barista train. I now do social media. That kind of started by running Barista Chloe actually and just kind of falling in love with the community and creating content and stuff. So now I do that for a job, which is really fun. I love cats. I just adopted a cat.
Okay.
Best thing ever. And I don't do much else with my day. I like to go to the gym. Otherwise, I'm not that interesting, I don't think. Well, hopefully I am actually interesting to listen to talk, but
I'm sure. No, definitely.
I like the quiet life.
No, I'm the same though. Like trying to get into routines. I know actually recently, and I when I posted, I just recently started going to the gym as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I appreciate like your kind of message about it's like that hurdle is that first. For me, it was a mental hurdle rather than physical, just through growing up. All boys school wasn't the in the best of shape, and just remember the gym being full of the rugby squad and just absolutely fearing going in there. And I was it's funny because I went in and I was like worried everyone else was going to be proper athletes, and hopefully they're not all listening. No disrespect to everyone else in the gym, but I definitely wasn't like noticeably unfit compared to everyone else. But yeah, so you mentioned, so I've divulged already going on to the gym.
It's fun.
But yeah, so you mentioned coffee used to be a barista trainer, and that's kind of the world that I know you from. When did your journey with coffee start? Or
long time ago now. I was just about to turn 20, so 8.5 years ago now. I know I still look 20, but yeah. I was so young. I was such a baby. Like I wasn't interested in coffee when I started in coffee.
Yeah.
I switched from a pub to a coffee shop because the manager, I used to serve him at the pub, and he was like, "Come work for me." And I was like, "No, I don't want to make coffee all day." Because working on a bar, coffee was a right hindrance. Like it was really annoying.
Oh yeah.
And then I thought, well, I work so late. Like I worked at like 3, 4 a.m. some nights, and then I was like, I'll have my evenings back. Like that sounds nice. Instead of working them, I'll have them back. So that's how I got into it. Yeah, 8.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Here I still am.
Yeah. So yeah. And at that point, was that full-time work? Was that alongside kind of study, or it was kind of straight into
It was
hospitality?
full time. I started uni. I quit after one semester
Okay.
because I just wasn't interested in it. I wasn't getting any enjoyment out of it. I was like, eh. And then I got a taste of a full-time wage, and that was it.
I can imagine, yeah, especially at all your kind of people you've known at uni and they're all still studying and you're there. Feel like a
Yeah.
feel like a millionaire when you kind of start earning and just
Yeah.
that getting out into life. But I think we'll touch on that actually, because fair play, that's quite a big decision to make
Mm.
about kind of leaving uni. Did it feel like, and the only reason I say that is because I left my PhD and
Okay.
for me, it was like a really big decision. It was kind of part of my identity, worried about what other people would think, etc., etc. And I guess
Yeah.
there's a difference maybe with, as you say, if you started, did one semester, wasn't quite for you. I'd done like 6 years at uni, started my PhD, always thought I was going to be a scientist, and then 6 months into my PhD, realized actually I was just chasing the idea of it and like wanting to be a doctor. So I had a bit of an identity crisis
Wow. Oh yeah. Feel that.
with that. But yeah, so when you kind of, how did your friends, like family, react when you were like, oh yeah, it's not for me. I'm gonna go work at a bar.
One of my friends at the time actually quit with me, so maybe we
Oh,
were
that's
bad influences on each other. But no one really was asked, to be honest. My mom just said, "Do what makes you happy." Like she was like,
amazing.
don't keep yourself in a situation where you're not happy in because you're not going to give it your all. You're not going to get anything out of it, and you're going to waste your money and your time and
Mm,
financial state." So she's very much do what makes you happy. Like she's never forced me into fictional things I don't want to do.
it sounds like your mum was just, as you said, supportive. You do what makes you happy, and that's amazing to have that, I guess, in at home.
Yeah, very much so, because I had a work ethic at the time. Like I wanted to dive straight in and do 40, 50 hours a week in the pub. So
Yeah,
it's not like I was lazy. I wasn't dropping out and just staying at home or anything. I was just putting my energy elsewhere and not into studying. So
amazing. And then, as you say, 8.5 years later,
yeah, here we still are.
still doing it. So, at what point did coffee go from a job to a passion, if you know what I mean?
Ooh, probably when I started at Paddy and Scott's,
Nice.
because before that it was, well, I started at Cafe Nero,
Hmm.
and then Costa,
Yeah.
because it was better pay for the same job. Um, and at Costa, I was kind of like, oh, I like my job, but like there was always a but that I couldn't place.
Mm.
Um, and I was a maestro at the time, and when you're a maestro at Costa, you do train the newbies.
Okay.
I loved. I was like,
Yeah.
this is so much fun. This is like better than serving on the till all day or whatever I was doing. And when I saw the job for Paddy and Scott's and applied and got it, like the company culture and the encouragement to learn and discover and just go out into the world, like
Yeah.
literally everywhere all over the UK. And I think the energy just fed off of everyone else. Everyone's so happy to work there. So I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I just got a taste of the rest of the industry that wasn't corporate aimed coffee shops. So definitely started from there.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's like the people. It's funny, isn't it? Like whatever industry you're in, it's like we're in a people industry at the end of the day. I know it's quite
Mm,
cliche and everything, but well, from my experience, the coffee community, and I came through to it from home barista kind of side during lockdown. It was actually my mental health and a dip in my mental health which drew me towards the kind of coffee. Initially, not because of, and I'm not advocating if you have anxiety or depression, drink loads of coffee. It's probably quite the opposite.
yeah.
But in terms of the actual being in coffee shops and feeling like a welcoming energy, and that comes much more from specialty coffee shops. And I had a lot of time and was off work for 6 months, and so would spend a lot of time kind of in cafes around Oxford, and then got a coffee machine at home. And lockdown happened, which kind of meant there was a lot of time to try it out, and it became a passion that way. Hence, cappuccino was born. Is a way to say it, I guess. And
Cappuccino.
and we kind of, yeah, it kind of grew from there. But the you mentioned about the rest of the industry and kind of your eyes opening to it. The role at Paddy and Scott's, was that a trainer job,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
first
I
job?
went
So
straight in as a
okay,
trainee.
and was that going out to different cafes and
Yeah, restaurants,
So,
hotels, schools, like anywhere that bought their stock as trade, I was
mm,
going out to teach. So it was really awesome. All
yeah,
over the UK, everywhere. Scotland, Wales, South
yeah,
Coast, Midlands, everywhere.
amazing. So getting to travel as well, meet people,
Yeah,
see people.
yeah, it was awesome.
Really cool, really cool. And so now you mentioned obviously doing the social media side of things.
Uh-huh.
That's right, like social media manager, content manager.
Yeah, I call it brand creative because
Okay,
there's
nice.
just more to it than just running the socials.
Yeah,
Say, I couldn't tell you what I fill my day with. It's so much random crap. But obviously, because I have the coffee knowledge and the training skills as well, if I'm about in a cafe, I can help with grinder calibration and some training. And
yeah,
honestly, I just feel like a bit of a mentor to our baristas because they're like, I don't
nice.
know, like when like I train them when they join, and then I just like feel like I just nurture them into their roles, and I love it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And one of the best things, isn't it, is like passing something on, passing on a skill, passing on knowledge, and just seeing people grow.
Yeah, it's the best. It
It
is
is
so
the
good,
best.
so
Yeah, yeah.
rewarding.
And that knowing that wherever they go off into the world, or I know there's certain people like, say, for example, Dan Tamang, obviously quite a big name in the coffee space. And then there's people like, say, Heidi,
Uh-huh.
who was at the coffee festivals. I ended up pouring on stage against her when
Yeah,
at London Coffee Festival, which was the first time I really met her. That was really nice that day, actually, when a load of people from the coffee space kind of came together. And
yeah.
yeah, bit of a yeah. Hopefully, it's going to be confirmed. But I'm hoping Heidi's going to come on the podcast as well. She's
Ah,
willing to kind of get involved, and so it'll be really interesting to hear her story as well. Because but just so many amazing people in that space.
yeah,
Um,
she's awesome.
but yeah. So sorry, I was saying like, and then I think she worked with Dan, and then just the way it just filters out. So who knows, like 5, 10 years down the line, they'll be like, oh yeah, it was Chloe who trained me.
We can hope.
Yeah, yeah, the legacy.
When this video has 1 million views, yeah, they'll be like, oh my God, I know her.
Yeah, we'll
And
get there.
you,
We'll get there.
of
Oh,
course.
yeah, 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 yeah. More than just the coffee space, though. I'm kind of branching out a bit more.
Yeah, true. The
Which
coffee's
is
always a good place to start.
it is, it is. But speaking of views, etc., etc. So videos is something that you've kind of created with Paddy and Scott's. I think
Yeah.
I've seen you do like the tutorials, etc. You seem nervous when I say that.
It's because I shouldn't hate it, and I don't hate it. But when I look at some of the viral stuff that I did like 3 or 4 years ago,
Viral.
I
You
just
used that word,
cringe.
wasn't it? Was it viral?
There's, I don't want uh, there's one video, and I posted about this on my story the other day. There's one video that does just haunt me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
fine, it's not a terrible video, but I say some of the bits wrong,
Ah, okay.
and like I feel like my accent's changed, and you know when you just can't watch yourself anymore, you're like,
Yeah.
oh no, like it's one of those.
No, I know
But
the
the
thing. I
video
know
did
the
really
feeling.
well.
Yeah, there's probably early episodes of like. Hopefully, if this continues, in a few years, I'll look back at like my first series or this series, and I'll be like, oh, I'm so unpolished or whatever. But I guess that's the nature of this podcast is just about genuine, like real conversations. I mean, it's probably pretty
Yeah,
obvious as well to people listening that this isn't kind of like direct questioning. We'll go off on tangents, but it's just cool to sit
yeah,
and share that space with someone and just hear about their own story. So
definitely.
something that I did also want to touch on, and we kind of mentioned it before hitting record, was more recently you put up a video, and it I think it was making coffee with ADHD, for example. So, and the nature of this kind of podcast, I noticed it was Missing Bean Coffee as well, which is one of the local ones to me. So big
Ah, yeah,
shout out to Missing Bean,
big up Oxford.
100%. But I presume from that video that ADHD is something that you are living with, something that you have. So is it all right to share a little bit about that? Was it diagnosed
Yeah.
when you're younger? I know there's quite a bit about kind of later diagnosis in like women particularly as well around that
Mm.
area. So yeah, it'd be interesting just to hear a little bit about that. And obviously from the fact you like posted it, it's great that you are kind of just, you know, the conversation's there, and it's certainly not something to hide.
With diagnosis and stuff, I feel like I'm one of those classic people that keeps putting it off,
Mm,
which is a thing in itself with like, and I don't think I have the H in ADHD, so probably more ADD. Um, because I don't think I'm hyper. Well, I don't know really. I don't know if I'm hyperactive or not, but
mm,
I over the last kind of 2 or 3 years,
mm,
I've done a lot more research, had more conversations with people that do have it, and the chances are very, very, very high. I have multiple symptoms. I've done one of those little online test things,
mm.
and it was like, yeah, you should probably speak to someone. Like, and then classic, just keep not speaking to someone because it's who I am. And sometimes I feel like you don't need it because people are like, oh yeah, they'll put you on meds and like it'll calm you down. And I'm like, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my brain to be quiet. It wouldn't feel right.
Mm.
I don't know, because there's always something going on in my
Yeah.
brain. But I don't know. I don't think I'd want quieten my brain down.
Yeah. No, I
I feel
see.
like it's where a lot of my creativity comes from. So
You've literally taken the words out of my mouth about creativity, and it's interesting.
mm,
Some of the most, yeah, creative people I know are people potentially with those symptoms or that diagnosis. So, and I think it is actually, as you say, almost flipping it and framing it, it's a positive. Like it's
yeah,
almost like like you say, superpower or whatever. You can able, you're just the ideas are buzzing, and and it's just kind of you. And
definitely.
it's it's definitely, I think, brilliant that society's moving, or the way the world is now. It's not, you know, there's not a one size fits all. You have to sit, do your office job, do this, do that. It's, you can find a space that works for you. And I guess it epitomizes it with what you said about dropping out of uni and just, no, that's not for me. I'll
Yeah.
go my own way. And
Yeah, I really, really struggle to do things that I find boring. I just
mm,
can't do it. It hurts my brain. I can't do it.
yeah. Okay,
And
so
I think
I'll be grateful if you make it to the end of this call. Hopefully you're not you just
no,
drop, you know, like,
I love a conversation. I can chat all day. But I think that's where I stay interested in coffee because, as you very much know, it's always changing. There's always something to learn, always a different corner to dive down, and you'll never ever know everything. So I think that's why I've stuck to this for so long.
yeah,
Good.
yeah. And I think, again, as you say about it always changing, but also particularly, I guess, with the training nature or the social ones, you're going to be meeting a lot and interacting with a lot of new people. So it's not just similar interactions with the same people. I I mean, I do a
Yeah.
little bit of the socials at work, but then really it's our like communications officer, but I kind of dive in a little bit, and it's almost like you never know what's going to come up in a day, or what you might need to react to. Yes, there's a bit of planning, but at the same time, the reactive stuff is sometimes quite nice because you feel like
Yeah.
you're putting something out or reacting when it's relevant and in the moment, and that's quite
Yeah.
cool.
And I love that. And I've trained actually people with ADHD, autism, like um both,
Yeah.
and even teenagers that have dropped out of school because they've struggled in school for behavioral issues or anything else. And they've always been my sites with the best feedback. They're like, you
Mm.
kept these people like engaged. They really got a lot from it. And I think that's because I know how to teach people that learn in the same way as I do.
Yes.
I think that I know like how to explain things to them and to show them and get them doing things and stuff because that's how I learn. So it's a very
Mm.
similar learning style, I think,
No, I love that.
which is
I love
nice.
that. And it's, yeah, it's so important, I guess, for people when they're learning for someone to feel relatable, for something
Mm,
to just connect with them. I mean, we always use it at work. We say, if you see it, you can be it, and things like that. And for us, it's about inclusion, whether it be neurodiversity, whether it be race, whether it be like gender, whether it be anything. It's just so important for us, because we know, like, we're working in football, the power of football, for
Yeah.
good or bad. Sometimes there are two sides to that, but I love the fact that our CEO, who's kind of who I report directly to, she's really big on it's not like football is there, great, and we're a football organization, but really we're there to use football to influence change and connect people, etc., etc. And I think coffee can be very similar, because pretty much everyone in the world will know what coffee is,
Yeah.
whether they like it or not. It's something that people immediately, I guess, evokes emotion in them, whether it's comforting or stimulating, etc. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
It's like fast food, isn't it? It has its place. You
Mm,
either use it or you don't, or
yeah,
sometimes, or whatever.
but it's that
Yeah.
something that everyone can relate to, and everyone will have a probably
Yeah.
opinion. There's not many people who would say, "Oh, I don't know about coffee. I don't mind it." Like, people either love it or don't.
Yeah. And a lot of people that don't like it say they wish they did.
Oh,
It
really?
has such a culture to it, doesn't it? Like going out for and everyone's like, I'd love to just like go out for a coffee. It sounds lovely.
Mm,
But people that don't like coffee are like, I really wish I did.
yeah, yeah. It's funny,
That
and
a lot.
especially I think in recent years, it's become more fashionable.
Yeah.
What with the
Instagrammable.
Yeah, well, I'll just ride that wave as long as I can.
Absolutely.
But no, so you mentioned, you say you just like a quiet life.
Yeah.
Circling back. So we're saying you just like a quiet life.
Yeah.
What does self-care look like to you?
Ooh, love that question. Um, it can be so many different things.
Mm,
I think taking care of like my physical self
mm,
is a big thing because I don't know, just feeling fresh and feeling like you look well
yeah.
presented um is really good for the mind. I do love being alone
Mm,
sometimes. I'm very comfortable with my own thoughts, which
yeah.
can be terrifying sometimes. But like I say, my brain's really noisy. So to be alone, I don't feel lonely.
Mm,
And but to decompress, like if I've had a day of socializing, I need to decompress and like literally just do nothing and like lay down on the bed or
I,
just
I I can relate to that.
yeah.
I love people. It sounds like we're quite similar in that sense. I love people and I love the socializing, but also similar, very comfortable myself, my own
Mm,
thoughts. Now becoming more comfortable with it. I know what's real, what's not, what
yeah.
to react to, what not. But yeah, that I couldn't just. I think now when I went to university and did Freshers Week, and I went out like 5, 6 weeks in a row, 5, 6 days in a row, not weeks in a row.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
how I did all that and uni in itself, and at that time, I actually didn't consider mental health at all. And it's really interesting how at uni, how much I probably put myself through that I didn't need to, because I just got caught up in what you're meant to do and what you should do. But sorry, yeah, interrupted your flow. But
Oh,
you say about, yeah, alone time, looking after yourself. You mentioned gym as well. So
yeah. Yeah, gym is a really good one. Like you say, getting over the mindset of going
mm,
first time and getting into it and getting a rhythm and seeing your body change and feel stronger and
yeah,
fitter. That is so motivating. Like that's good. Um, and alongside that is eating well. I love food, I love cooking, I love eating.
yeah.
And that, yeah, yeah. A good gym sesh followed by cooking a good meal is like I'm just so in my flow. Good music on as well.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. And as you say, it is the simple things sometimes. Like
Absolutely.
it doesn't have to be anything expensive or complicated.
Yeah.
It's
Countryside walk is
oh
the
yeah,
best. I live in
yeah,
the middle of
fresh air.
nowhere. So yeah, it's very lovely.
Mm,
No matter what the weather as well. No matter what the weather, I always feel better after a good walk. it's so cliche, isn't it? Like exercise, good food, like look after your skin and your hair. But
Yeah,
it works for me. It really
yeah.
does.
There's a reason it's cliche, right?
Yeah.
Like people, and I think that's the thing. I think sometimes, or things like that, or even gym, like I was saying, recently got into it, and I was like, oh, maybe it won't work, but yeah, feel better after it, or going to try go on my lunch breaks at work because it's right by the office. So no matter
Mm.
what's happened in the morning, you know, I would normally, or before, I'd have a bit of like afternoon lull as like standard. But yeah, you can just go to the gym and you don't have to worry about what's going on back there. Just doing something for yourself as well in the day, which is
Absolutely.
really important. Uh, but yeah, there's simple things. It's great, and I think
Yeah.
that's a really good message. I think for everyone, especially in these days. You know, there's so much available to us. I
Yeah.
feel like there's so much that we could get if we wanted, but because of that, we maybe are distracted from the things that have worked for years and years and years of
Yeah.
after ourselves, and we try and overcomplicate it.
We really do. Like the things that we're designed for
Mm.
versus what we do are just not the same.
Yeah.
Like the screen time we consume, whether
Mm.
that be a work computer, phone, social media, a TV,
Mm.
when we should be outside, moving, walking,
Yeah.
like, just being at one with the earth and all the rest of it.
No.
Genuinely, like that is
Mm.
what we're designed to do, and we don't live like that.
No. And it's almost at times people have the holidays and they go away and they think, oh, that was a really nice break. It's like there's no reason why that shouldn't be all the time.
Mm.
Obviously, I'm yeah, don't always practice what I preach. I'm got a lot on my plate as ever. I like to keep myself busy. Similar to
Yeah.
yourself, I think I don't ever really have a quiet mind. Even if I'm by myself and trying to relax, it's going.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Um,
what else have I got to do? What am I doing tomorrow?
yeah. So I struggle with that in the moment. Um, but that's something where I've noticed, like, yeah, exercising is something I very much am in the moment. And to bring it back round to coffee, I think what I found is with particularly during lockdown or as a nice break at work, when you're actually going through the process of whether you're making I don't know, making an espresso based drink or whether you're
Yeah.
making a cafetiere filter, trying to take the time, and the enjoyment starts with the brewing rather than the
Oh, it
drinking.
so does. Yeah, it
So,
really does. And actually, dare I say it, in
what? Sorry?
lockdown, in lockdown,
Oh, right. I actually genuinely, I thought the headphones had gone.
sorry, in lockdown, like coffee was really what got me up
Mm,
every day. Having no reason to get out of bed.
mm,
If I didn't have that little espresso machine and Instagram,
yeah,
because I think like coffee Instagram peaked in lockdown. Like
yeah,
the
probably did.
engagement
Yeah,
was
yeah.
unreal.
You can thank me for
Um,
that. No, no, I'm
yeah.
joking.
Oh, yeah, the engagement was really
Mm,
like just so much. Like
awesome.
it's
Yeah.
flopped since then. I don't know what's going on.
Mm,
But yeah, just knowing that my machine is down there, like you can be really like mindful with it, like the sounds and the smells and weighing it
yeah,
out, measuring and the making and the pouring. Like you
yeah,
say, that all comes before actually drinking it. And then of course you get to drink it.
yeah,
You're like, and then you can post about it and chat to loads of people that you've never met.
yeah. No,
Their
yes.
opinions and like it was genuinely like what got me out of bed in lockdown.
Mm. No, definitely. It was, yeah, everything said, it's all the senses, really. If
Yeah.
you can really take time to enjoy it. And I think that's something that it was during lockdown, I started to actually appreciate that. And I have to
Mm.
admit, like, when I'm busy now, like, I'm really not making as much coffee at home as I would like to,
Mhm.
as I was. And I noticed, like, even just from my feed, like, there's not really much home latte art anymore. And I'm busy doing the podcast and doing a lot with the football club, and it's branched out. It's become more than just home barista stuff, which is great. But
Yeah.
for myself, I think it's a good indicator of when I'm a bit busy, maybe a bit stressed, maybe not making time for myself is if I'm not making coffee at home. I always use it like a yardstick, if you know what I mean.
Mm. Yeah. Would you say that's your self-care?
Yeah, I'd say that is self-care for me, just because it matters because it doesn't matter in a way. Like no matter what my latte art looks like, I enjoy the process of it and the learning and things like that. So anything that matters, because it doesn't matter, and I like to throw myself into it. So football, I would say, and I know some football fans would say, no, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, whether the team I support wins or loses, as long as I've enjoyed taking it in and I'm not thinking about my own stress and my own worries, then I'm happy. Just 90 minutes where I'm not stressed. So yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Love that.
So that's where football and coffee are two very big parts of what I do, because I've just found a way, I guess, through this, and it's brilliant that I can really, what do I say, act on my purpose through my passions. So my purpose, mental health awareness, my passions, coffee and football. And if I could sum up cappuccino in a sentence, that is pretty much it.
I love that. Have you heard of it's a Japanese word, and I'm probably gonna butcher,
Yeah.
but I think it's ikigai.
Yes. I know I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like purpose, is it needed? Do you
Mm,
like it? Or I don't know. Gosh, ignore me. I'm not a philosopher, but
yeah.
whatever all those things are your purpose.
Yeah. No, it's like something. Yeah, is it something you need, something you enjoy?
Yeah, yeah.
As I say, people will be watching this thinking, "Oh, they've really got," but we know
Yeah,
what we
well,
mean.
I don't know what they're on about.
We know what we mean. So it's
Yeah.
and I think it's really nice that I feel I can do that. And my day job is in football as well, so I really have at the moment found myself in a space where I'm quite happy with the way I'm spending my time. So
That's good.
it's nice. Yeah.
I think enjoying your job is so important. People overlook their lifestyle outside of work if they have a well-paid job, because they're like, oh, but I get good money.
Mm.
It's like, well, what's good money if you're not spending time with your loved ones and doing the hobbies that you enjoy and getting enough sleep and enough
Yeah.
exercise? Like, what is that?
Yeah. What is that money for? What
What are
do
you
you get
doing?
from it? Yeah.
Yeah, you can't buy more sleep or exercise or time with your loved ones. Like,
100%.
way more important.
Yeah. And it's so true. It's say like time is your most valuable asset, really, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you're never going to get it back as well. Money, if you win, lose, whatever you can, there are ways to make money if you need, but time, there isn't. And I think lockdown really heightened that. Obviously, people
Yeah.
understanding about, it just brought it, I guess, into the forefront of people's minds. So I know like some people really don't like to think about death or think about mobility, this, that, and the other. Like
Mm.
I've never really minded the subject. I think I'm quite accepted with, that it happens. So like
Yeah.
it's a topic. I know some people, like my partner, she really doesn't like it. Like even thinking about it or talking, like I'll say things like, "Oh, I wonder what my song will be at my funeral," and she's like, "No, don't even think, don't think about it."
Yeah, I've picked my funeral songs. It's
Yeah,
whatever.
but I think it really brought it into kind of public interest. I guess the idea that how quickly things can change, whether that be someone passing, like your life path. So that's the thing. If you spent all this time investing into something, like people's businesses would have just gone, or people's jobs, and then people being forced to spend time with themselves.
Yeah.
So
I
I think,
think overworking is so glamorized.
mm,
And I think people putting in ridiculous hours, say like 70, 80 hours,
mm,
people around them would be like, oh, they work so hard. And it's like, you can work hard, earn enough money, and be happy at 40 hours, 30
mm,
hours, 20 hours. You can still work hard.
yeah,
Working more hours than is healthy doesn't mean you work hard. Not to
no,
say that they don't work hard, by the way. Just
yeah, no,
disclaimer,
I know.
don't come for me. But in the comments, don't come for me. But I think
I know.
working too much shouldn't be glamorized
And
because
also,
it's not healthy.
it's part of, and again, we're saying that, don't come for me. It really, no job you should need to be doing that hours. If you're efficient in the hours, if you're working efficiently, you shouldn't need to do that.
Exactly. And
So,
seeing more on like LinkedIn now, people are highlighting that it's your performance rather than the hours sat at your desk or the hours
I've
doing
noticed that there's a lot of on
whatever.
LinkedIn now, and people started doing it like, "Oh, sorry to do a personal post," but like, and actually, I'm kind of like, I've only recently joined LinkedIn. I was kind of pushed into it from my manager, but actually, I'm really glad I did, because I kind of use it to get cappuccino out to a new audience as well.
Uh-huh.
But it's good that, well, I guess it depends on who your network is, right, as well. So with my network, I see a lot of posts about, so like office, like well-being, this, that, and the other, mental health. So it's good, but then yeah, it's interesting because it just seems like it's a long time ago since I had Facebook, but it almost feels like it's just becoming like a new Facebook, but just in like the work world. I don't know. That's quite a big thing to say. I don't know.
Pretty much, yeah. Um, I'm not personally a fan. I use it because I think it's important to, but it just doesn't really align with like my
Mm.
style, I guess. It's too serious. And then when you're not serious, it's like I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
I
I'm
see
just
what you
not
mean.
serious enough for it. I'm like Instagram, I can be myself more.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
I can't really be myself on LinkedIn.
no, I try. Yeah, I try to be, but then I can be quite like people take the mick of me a little bit at work because oh, Hans, you love networking and this, that, and the other. Like, but I do. I just like people person. I really like to connect, and for me, I love people's stories. Hence, I guess this podcast and wanting to hear
Yeah,
people's. Like for me, that's what I love. If I can find out about people's story, that's really cool. I think, and it's nice to give people a space to talk about it, especially like say at work. A lot of people feel, oh, we're working towards this, towards this. So to actually just say to someone, oh, like, so where did you go to school? Or like, oh, where did you grow up? And just get them talking about their life is really interesting.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think you learn a lot more about people when you actually just take 5 minutes to not discuss work.
Yeah,
Really
exactly. It's really nice. And it just helps that then getting to know each other. And
cool. Mm,
then it does come, I think, make more productive teams. That's not the outcome. The outcome's not to be more productive. I think it's just to enjoy your time there and the results will look after themselves in a way.
oh, absolutely. I think if you like your team and have more respect for them, know more about them, know your boundaries as well, you get more out of people.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Ooh.
My boss says people buy people, so
Yeah,
don't be a knobhead and you'll always have a place in this world, I guess.
that's the title of this episode sorted. But,
It's true.
it is true, and it actually is quite simple. Like just, and I think
Yeah.
so. Going off that, there's a quote that I think it was a comedian who said it. It was probably I think it was Jimmy Carr who said it, and he was saying, I know he divides opinion or the whole tax and whatever, but he said, if you're if before lunch you've interacted with three, I'll use the word knobheads as we go with that. If you've interacted with three knobheads before lunch, the likelihood is that you're the knobhead because if people are if you're having those agitations or there seems to always be that conflict, like what's
Mm,
the common thing? If in one morning there's three people that have really wound you up and you've got into it a bit of an argument, then maybe you might be attracting that kind of energy.
I think that probably has some truth,
I
to be
think because
honest.
or even if you're just making it and then you're like people because there's those people that almost love to have something to moan about, love to have something to have like
Mm,
come in the morning, oh, traffic was awful, and I was nearly late, and this, that, and the other, and then,
yeah,
rather than just it's happened, you get on with your day, and I think it's interesting. So,
definitely. I think energy really does reflect
mm,
throughout the office.
yes,
I've always said as well, like if we interact like in person or whatever, and you don't like me, that's on you because I'm reflective. Like
yeah,
I put in the energy that I get.
mm,
So if you think I'm a knobhead,
mm,
maybe that's why. Maybe you're the one that's more irritable and agitated than I am, and I'm just giving you that energy back.
yeah, and I think
I'm
that's
quite relaxed, I think,
yeah. No,
generally.
I'm the same. I think I've got a lot of patience. It takes a lot to wind me up. Um, then
Yeah,
sometimes when
you
I
seem
go,
really like calm.
yeah, I'm now. Now I've kind of not on that hamster wheel of trying to be a doctor, trying to be. I wouldn't say I was calm during uni, not at all.
Yeah.
Like before I knew what my so it was only I was 22 when I found out mental health was a thing. Really, like
Mm,
hadn't really thought about it at all until then. Until I didn't really have an option, which unfortunately I think is a lot of the time the case, particularly with guys or with anyone really. It's only it's reactive rather than proactive in terms of trying to look after yourself. But yeah, I wouldn't say I was relaxed till then, and it's taken me a while to kind of relax, because now I can just be like, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? I ask myself a lot now. Does it matter?
Yeah. Yeah, well, so that, yeah, if you're not going to be mad, if you know you're not going to be annoyed about it tomorrow, don't waste the energy being annoyed about it now. Like, just
Cool. So, wary of time, kind of been a good conversation. There's a question that I ask everyone on this podcast, and that is, what does happiness mean to you?
It is, I think, just, I mean, content is kind of the same word, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's appreciating the now, everything that you have now, because I think if you're always chasing something, you'll never be happy with what you've got now.
Yeah.
You always want the next best thing. You're not appreciating what you've got fully. I think it's appreciation in every single thing that you have, and the little things, as we discussed earlier. So
yeah, amazing. I love that. And that's, as I say, something that with people like us with busy minds, it can be easy to not be in the now. So really appreciating those moments when you are is awesome.
definitely.
Cool. Thanks, Chloe.
That was so fun.
Yeah, it was lovely to chat, and hopefully see you at a coffee festival soon.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, and I really hope you gained something from that conversation. I know I certainly did. It would mean a lot if you can like and subscribe on whatever platform you may be watching or listening on, but also if you head over to Instagram and give me a follow at Cappuccino. This is the best place to contact me, but also see the latest developments on the platform as we look to increase awareness of mental health through my passions for coffee and football. In addition, if you've heard something that you can relate to or you want to talk about a little bit more, feel free to message me on that platform. But also, if you fancy coming on yourself and having a conversation, then do let me know, because I'm always keen to connect with new people and get insights into other areas and other passions and other challenges that I might have no experience of myself. Thanks again, and I really hope you tune in for the next episode. Take care of yourselves. I've been Hans. Thank you.